You've asked an enormous question. How do you get people to know, like, and trust you? And, therein is the eternal question.
Welcome back to For Entrepreneurs by Entrepreneurs, episode 14. I am Eric Verdi, and with us this week is Paul Samakow. He is an entrepreneur, a business owner in the DC metro area. He is an author of a book that we're going to reference. Stepbystepbook.biz is where you can actually buy the book, but I'll reference it. I was reading it this morning, glancing through in preparation for the interview, and it's pretty eerie how similar Paul and my philosophy is on business, attraction to customers, how to manage the customer acquisition process. So I'm excited to have Paul on with us today. Paul, before we get into everything that you do, give us your backstory.
I started off, as a little entrepreneur even before high school. But when I got to high school, I used my photography skills to go around in Montgomery County, Maryland, and PG County, and over into Virginia, and took pictures of little kids in their group swim clubs, and then sold the individual pictures and the group photos back to the parents, and I let the coaches do all the selling and collecting all the money. So, with that inauspicious start where I made a ridiculous amount of money for a high school kid, I found, being an entrepreneur and running your own business was a pretty cool thing. I guess at some point early on, I saw the TV program Perry Mason. Maybe I'm dating myself. But at that point, early on in my life, I knew I wanted to be a lawyer. So I became an attorney, and I've been an attorney now for 40 years. I've had multiple businesses that have been successful and sold them, and a couple I abandoned simply because I just didn't have time, because my legal career, got in the way, and that was, what I had spent, most of my time in my life doing is going to school and becoming an attorney. I have a side business, which really isn't even a side business. For most people, it would be, a big business, but I am a business consultant, and I work with all measure of different businesses across the country. I've actually been hired by three marketing companies, so I help them establish their marketing businesses. And I have a number of attorneys across the country that I work with and helping them market their law, their law practice. So the backstory is I'm a solo guy. I do my law thing in metro area, DC, Virginia, and I have a consulting business for businesses.
So this consulting business, that's what I really want to hit on today.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Kind of like, we were talking last week when we met via phone, kind of like you can throw a rock and hit 1,000 real estate agents. You can throw a rock and hit 1,000 attorneys. So let's focus on the business consultant aspect for this interview today, Paul, especially since I want to reference and talk about your book here, and we'll get to that in a minute. So the consulting, is it small to medium companies, is it solopreneurs? And are you the one doing the consulting, or do you have a group behind you? How's that work?
It's small businesses, solopreneurs. I like that. It's people looking to start their business and getting to a point maybe 4, 5, 6 years in where they're stuck. I'm not going to go looking to be a business consultant to a Fortune 500 company or somebody with 50 employees. That's not my, that's not where my golden spot is. I want to work with, the people, who are doing it and running it. Yeah, it's just me. I don't have, I have support staff that help me with a lot of the admin stuff for my consulting business, but the consultant is me.
Awesome. How long have you been doing this, Paul?
I've probably been doing this 25 years. And I'd say in the last 10 years, I've really started it as a full-blown business. Prior to that, as an attorney, I did business work. I would be the one who would help with the documentation when someone wanted to buy a business or sell a business. And that morphed into then the buyers asking me if I knew somebody that could help them in other ways. And I said, yeah, I can. So, I would charge hourly, and it was not the same structure and format that my consulting business is today, but I've been doing this a long time.
Gotcha. So I have found, and this is the whole premise of For Entrepreneurs by Entrepreneurs, that each of us entrepreneurs, and that's what you are, has this like one thing that you do really, really, really well. You might be very good or poor at 97 other things, and you might float by or get by. But what is that one thing, Paul? What's like your entrepreneur superpower?
It might sound funny, but my superpower is listening. I think if you want to really truly connect with somebody, want to understand them, you keep your mouth shut. And again, I mean, we've all heard the expression, that's why God gave you 2 ears and only 1 mouth. Mm-hmm. But on a level that everybody says, oh yeah, I listen. In fact, most people don't. Most people can't wait to tell you about themselves or tell you what's in their head in response to the few things that you're thinking and saying right now. And it's all about them. But you learn so much more when you just keep your mouth shut and you truly and actively listen and ask non-committal questions. You ask questions about what you just heard, and you get so much more information. And I think on many levels, my ability to decompress what's in here, take it and put it over there and listen to who it is that I'm talking about. What are your goals? What are your desires? What is your backstory? What is the reason you're doing this? Many businesses have that start off question. What is your why? Why are you doing this? And, when you get the average person who asks the question, the person being asked then starts to give the answer, and the person asking cuts them off after 30 seconds because they're impatient. I don't do that. I want to hear everything. I can do better for you when I understand you, when I understand your goals, your dreams, your fears. And so I think I'm proud to say that I'm someone who truly listens to people, and that enables me to get a lot more done for them and with them.
I think that's an awesome point, Paul, that, number one, people do love talking about themselves. And, I think the few people, I'd say maybe 5 or 10% actually like listening to people and before they're actually thinking of what else to say. Yeah, granted, in an interview style like this, I'm thinking of my next question and how we're going to move the interview forward. But with my clients, and it sounds like with your clients too, you need to find out the deeper reason behind what they're asking you or what their goal is. Yes, I want to make more money. Okay. I want to make more money. Why? Well, because my son was in a car accident 3 years ago, and I've got, $10,000 a month bills for care. When you get like the why behind the why, I think that's extra important, especially with what you're doing, both professionally in law and in your business consulting. And that's really, that's admirable. I like that. I like that you're a listener and really a doer too, but you're a listener. So awesome. So have you always, I hate talking about myself. I'd much rather be on here asking you questions. So when did you find the superpower? Hey, I like finding out why people or businesses do what they do.
I'm going to give you an honest answer that you might not expect. I'll go back into a little bit of personal and get right to your question. I'm married now twice. My first wife and I just got divorced and didn't work out for lots of reasons. And I got married again, and I found a woman who was phenomenal. And she is an executive and life coach, and has taught me a great deal. And I was one of those people whose agenda was important to get out. My early years with Susan, my wife, were filled with conversations that were dominated by Paul. And I noticed that she was just very quiet and listened to me, and I was always able to say everything I wanted to say. And then there was a lull because, she she didn't have the need to tell me so much unless I specifically asked. But turning that around, at one point we had a come to God conversation where she said, she said, it would really mean a lot to me if you listened more to me. And it was like, oh my gosh, you're right. I'm so sorry. You're absolutely right. This has been the Paul story. And ever since then, it's been Paul in the background and who is in front of Paul's story. And I 110% attribute that to my amazing wife.
Awesome.
So that's been, we just celebrated our 23rd anniversary on this past December. I'm going to say 20 years of my life since then, 20 years ago, give or take. I don't remember when that conversation took place, but I know it's been at least a couple of decades, and I have just done everything I can do to become a better listener and as a result become a better partner, a better friend, a better consultant. In all measure of my life, relationships are better, listening. That's the key to the world, I believe.
I love it. So, all right, I'm gonna go in a little bit different direction here. So, married. You're married second time. Obviously, you have kids because I heard you have grandkids. So let's talk a little bit about your family, Paul.
My first marriage produced two amazing young ladies, two daughters that I have. My second marriage, I have two also amazing young lady daughters. And as of 2 weeks ago, I now have a little granddaughter. When I was divorced, I shared legal custody with my ex-wife for my two daughters, and she had primary physical custody, but like most people, in that kind of a situation, I got to see my girls every other weekend and Wednesday nights. And so we'd have in our home, my stepdaughters, my two daughters, so that was 4 girls. My wife is a girl. We had a dog. The dog was female, and I joked that anybody that was willing to listen to me, the hamster was probably a girl too. So I've had nothing but girls my whole life, and I love them. They're all daddy's little girl, and they still are. I mean, so it's a joy to behold, to have girls. And yeah, I missed having a son to be able to go out and throw the baseball around, but I'm not hurting. I mean, if that's the worst thing that happened to me in my life,
right,
I'm a lucky guy.
Awesome. I love it. So I want to ask you a couple questions. I want to reference a couple points in your book that really kind of caught my eye that I love. This is, if you guys want a copy of this book, it's stepbystepbook.biz. So I'm going to go through on page 88. The foundation principle of selling, which is part of marketing, is that people will buy from only those whom they know, like, and trust. So I'm going to add my 2 cents. I want to do like this, can we do this like 4 different parts of the book? So I'm going to add my 2 cents first, and then I'll let you expand on your perspective of that, okay? So again, the foundation principle of selling, which is part of marketing, is that people will buy from only those whom they know, like, and trust, which everybody knows referrals are know, like, and trust. Know, like, and trust. Know, like, and trust. Know, like. You've heard that a million times if you're in business, if you're an entrepreneur. But how do you get your message out there? How do you become likable? Okay. I think you become likable by publishing consistent, compelling content, which is actually what my book is about. We're not going to get into my book today. This is about you. But I believe to get in front of your audience, there's a specific way to do it where you need to have your point of view out there, have your mindset out there. We had talked in the pre-interview, Dan Kennedy says, if you haven't pissed half your audience off by noon, you're not doing a good thing. So you need to stand for something in your messaging. You need to stand for something. But yes, you're going to attract those that like you, that understand your point of view, and you're going to repel those that don't. And you really don't want to do business with those people, because if you're butting heads in the beginning, you're going to be butting heads the entire time. So that's my perspective of that. Give me yours, Paul.
You've asked an enormous question. How do you get people to know, like, and trust you? And, therein is the eternal question for the entrepreneur about marketing. How do you get out in front of George and Sally and Bill and Bruce and Bobby? And there's a lot of different ways to do that. But I want to skip past that because it's too enormous, Eric. to answer. I mean, I'd love to, be with you for the next 3 hours, and I'll go into that. But the point is, I want to just skip to, you have what I call a potential. You have somebody you've caught their eye. They're considering you. And now you have to show them integrity. You have to show them truth. You have to show them that there's no BS. Let's take a mega superstar in the world, Oprah Winfrey. Now, you think you know her, and so do I, and so does everybody else that's ever seen her, because if you see her, she's infectious, she's magnetic. And we've seen her bare her soul on interviews and on her talk show, and she had it. And it is that when you open yourself up, when you let your personality be exposed, people will instantly trust you and like you. And if they see you enough, they'll think they know you. And that's the opinion that all of us have about Oprah. So when I go into the world as an attorney, I deal with my clients one by one by one, and word spreads like a virus. And I am sorry to have to use that word, but it does, because when you do right by somebody, they go and they tell 10, 15, 20 people right away. When you think that you're pulling the wool over someone's eyes, it's 100 times worse. It takes a long time to get 10 people to be your clients or your customers. It doesn't take long at all if you mess around with somebody or cheat them or BS them for them to go tell 100 people, hey, this guy's FOS. And so it's a reputation building process that you can't conquer today or tomorrow, but it's a step-by-step, which is the reason that I named the book that. It's a step-by-step process of incrementally and slowly building trust in 3 different quarters. And I'm haranguing here, but I want to be a little bit complete in the answer without addressing how you get their attention. The 3 different quarters are, first, your employees. You've got to take care of your employees, your staff. That's number 1 always. Number 2 are your clients and your community, your clients and your customers. You have to do right by them. And number 3 is your community. You don't have to go out into the world and solve every problem, but you have to do things that are truly altruistic to be able to just do them for their own sake, not because the press is there putting the camera on you or the newspaper is there writing a story about you. But when you truly give from your heart to do things that are good, that need to be done, that should be done in your community, in your circle, again, that's trustworthy, that's valuable, that's likable. So that's my long-winded harangue answer.
I love it. I do. I think that's, I don't know if I would put, I don't know if it would be that direct order, but I do agree, taking care of your employees, taking care of your customers, and taking care of your community. I 100% agree with that. I love it. And that's why we've started Impact Club here in Frederick, and we've donated over $370,000 in 3.5 years. Yeah, you and I are in total alignment there. Another part of your book we're in total alignment is Joseph Sugarman, one of the best copywriters of all times. Joseph Sugarman, Eugene Schwartz, in the post interview, I'll show you my bookshelves with all the direct response writers, but Joseph Sugarman is one of my favorite.
Absolutely.
He has 17 points. I just want to get on one here. And his last one. We're not going to go through all 17. That is actually, you can, if you want to read this, and this is I love your style of writing where you've taken compilations of people that are smarter than you, people that are better than you, people who have paved path for you, and you've kind of ingrained that in your book. I love it. So point 17, telling a story can help sell your product. It can create an environment or get the reader emotionally into your copy. A story can bond you with your prospect. People love stories. It's the single best way to communicate a message and persuade people. Whenever you get stuck and don't know what to do with your copy, start with a story. So I will take you to a website called significantobjects.com. It was a story/mindset training where two gentlemen went out and bought little widgets from yard sales. They buy them from flea markets. They go to Goodwill. They go wherever, buy these little widgets. They spent $52 on these little widgets. One was a egg whisk, okay? One was an egg whisk. They attached a story to these 52 objects or however many there were. They increased the value by attaching words and by attaching story to these products by like 3,742%. So 100% I agree with what you and what Sugarman said, that when you can emotionally connect with an audience through story, like the price, what they're going to pay you is limitless, right?
Absolutely. There's stories become part of my existence, both in my consulting work with clients and helping them write copy, get their message out, and in my work as an attorney. I've talked to a lot of juries over my legal career. You know, you've heard this, Eric. Stories sell, facts tell. So if you've just got a boring, dry recitation of facts, it's like yawn, okay. But when you connect a story to the service or product that you're ultimately trying to get Joe or Sally or Billy Bob to spend their hard-earned money to buy it from you, they will connect 100 times faster when they can find something that they can connect with. And it's not a dry recitation of facts. You have to pick the story. Okay, so you're not going to tell someone looking to buy flowers about the automotive body shop and their success, unless you can connect something between the body shop and the flower seller. But the concept that Sugarman hits there is so true, and it is the concept of emotion. Everyone, every single person, me included, and you, my friend, we buy on emotion, unless it's absolute need. Oh, my headache is killing me. I got to go get Excedrin, or I got to do whatever I'm going to do. Yeah, that's not emotion. That's absolute need. That's not. But I'm talking about the purchases that we want to make that, are significant. It's emotional. The guy walks in, the old man walks into the car dealer, and there's that red, beautiful sports car. He wants it. He doesn't need it, but he goes home, and now the emotion of his interest, that his desire, translates into the other part of his brain where he's now trying to convince his wife logically why he has to have this red sports car. Oh, honey, I can take out my clients, or it gets decent gas mileage. He's making up all these reasons logically where he needs to have this car, and none of the logic supports it, but that's what people do. They buy emotionally to justify, and then they justify logically. And how do you get to the emotion? Through a story. That's the answer.
I just wrote that down when you said stories sell, facts tell. I was going to add in that people buy with emotion and they justify that purchase with logic. And
that's it.
You got there before I did, so we're on the same wavelength. All right. Yeah. Do you back up all of your promises, even when it costs you? Do you do this when no one is watching? So only you know if you're doing right by your clients.
Right.
I'm sure probably like me, you have given away free advice, given away free part of your time. When it's beneficial to the client, right?
Sure, all the time. Yesterday, my staff came in and told me that a client from about 3 years ago called up because he's still getting collection notices on a case where we were supposed to have paid all of his medical bills. And we did about 10 minutes worth of research, and I was able to conclude very quickly that somehow a bill slipped through the cracks and it wasn't paid. And my promise to my clients when we finish their cases is that all your medical bills are going to be paid. You'll never have to worry about any of those or collections or, here's a copy of all the checks that we've written. So I don't know why he would have, not called right away because he didn't see that particular check. Maybe he just didn't recognize it. But nonetheless, yeah. So I told my bookkeeper, write the check. I'll sign it. We're sending it out today. We made him a promise. All the bills are going to be paid. One wasn't. Clearly my fault. Paid the bill. Done. That is going to resonate. He's going to go tell 100 people that happened. I didn't do it because of that reason, because I did it because that was what was right.
Right.
But, again, and you know this, everything you do is marketing. How your group answers the phone, the cleanliness of a bathroom, what your front desk looks like, and, when people come into the reception room, everything you do is marketing. Everything. So, yeah, did I do that for marketing reasons? No. But did I acknowledge and recognize in my mind that that's going to have positive marketing effect? Absolutely.
Awesome. Yeah, just 2 days ago, I got a new client myself in my business that was a 4th level referral, so referral.
Yep.
Yep. So
Right. Yeah.
And you don't get that if you don't take care of all 4 of those people.
That's right.
All right. Last
Absolutely.
point here. And by leveraging, you can make more money than through all your other efforts combined. So this really hits home with this interview today and what I'm doing with For Entrepreneurs by Entrepreneurs, because each of us has a superpower. So after today, you're going to be invited to a private group for Entrepreneurs by Entrepreneurs. We've got about 20, 25 members, because right now, to me, Paul, it is quality over quantity. I don't want 10,000 members. I want, if somebody needs a resource within our group, hey, how do I do a Google AdWords? How do I do a Facebook ad? How do I build a funnel? Who do I need for a business consultant? Okay, you go to Paul. So our combined efforts, what do you need to publish a book, probably between the two of us? I don't know if yours is self-published or not. Mine is. How do you publish a book? We could help another person in our group. So I am, I'm getting a little older, a little, I don't know, a little wiser maybe as I grow old, that I don't know everything. And I want to surround myself with people that are awesome, that have their superpower, and how can we help each other push everybody forward. So I love that. I'll read it to you again. I'm sure you remember your own quote, but I'll read it to you again, and I'll let you chime in.
Okay.
By leveraging, you can make more money than through all your other efforts combined.
Okay. So I'm an attorney. I hung out a shingle, as the expression goes. I never worked for anybody as a lawyer in my entire life. Didn't go to a law firm, didn't send out resumes, just passed the bar exam in Virginia, hung out the shingle, and started trying to get clients. And there comes a point where you can't do everything. There's certain, things that you need to do as a human being. You need to sleep. You need to eat. You need to have mental downtime. You need to rest. I was an avid tennis player, still am. I needed to get out on the court and hit that ball. And there just isn't enough time in the day to service all the needs of all the potential clients, to make them all happy and to do 110% for all of them. So you have a choice. You can turn away business. No! Or you can leverage. So what did that mean? I hire more employees to do the administrative work, and I hire an associate lawyer to do some of the legal work. It's a simple concept. You just simply leverage your time by getting others to help. What is that you remember the movie Huckleberry Finn, Tom Sawyer? Tom got others to help him paint the fence, right? I mean, that's what it's all about.
Awesome. All right, so let's go back to your consulting business, okay? Since our audience is mostly entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, and business owners, how would we find out more about your consulting business? Is really the best first step to go and read your book, step-by-step book, or you can buy it at stepbystepbook.biz, or how would they find out more about you?
I would love to have people buy the book, but I'm going to share with you that where my consulting is now, that book doesn't really address, because I've changed it since that book was written. I now take someone by the hand or work with them in a group, and I teach them how to get clients and get customers without spending any money, without advertising, without funnels, without Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, pick one, all the rest of them I'm not even familiar with necessarily all of them that exist today. But there's a way to do this so that you can maximize your income and minimize the time that you spend. And it's an old concept, but I think I've tweaked it to make it sensational. So I've got, potential client who calls me up and says, Paul, I want to do this, I want to do that. And we go through a whole process of really, as I said, I do a lot of listening, and we dig down deep and find out what their message is, who their audience is, what they want to do, how they believe they should go about it. And I never tell people to do anything. I give them my thoughts on, oh, well, that could be good here and not so good there, and what do you think about this? And so collaboratively, I am able to help people do some pretty significant and amazing things. People want to take back their life, in a manner of speaking. They want to have more time for friends and family. They want to take the vacation. They want to do these things. And the methodology that I've employed for myself and for many others allows that. And I'm going to share another word with you, Eric, that I have, I think, appropriately and effectively delivered to my clients. And that is, everyone at the end of the day, when you keep drilling down, why, eventually, and they don't even necessarily know the word, but ultimately what everybody is looking for is hope. It's hope. I hope that when I retire, I'm going to have enough money. I hope that I can help my ailing parents. I hope that I can make a difference in my child's life and afford an education that my child should deserve. I hope, and that's really what everybody wants, even if they can't particularly enunciate it themselves. But I get to that level for people, and then we start working on that. So when I have a new business client where I'm consulting, we spend a lot of time before we even get to, now let's work on the business. And again, you're an entrepreneur, you're familiar with it. So many people work in the business and they don't work on the business. Well, I want to flip that around. If you're an entrepreneur, to begin with, there's no question you should be 50-50 in the business and 50 on the business. And hopefully you get to the point where, again, through leveraging, you could be 25% in the business and 75% on the business. And, these are the things that I think I've been effective with a lot of my clients, just about all of them, to help them move forward.
I love it. So where do they go to find this out, Paul?
I'm an easy guy to find, and I have a number that you'll never forget after you hear this. You pick up the phone and you call 301-5-million. 301-5-million. And my associate attorney answers the phone. His name is Rocco. So, you could be a client calling me for a new case, or you could be a potential business client. 301-5-million. And Rocco answers the phone. He says, well, if this is a Paul Samakow, and you say, yeah, hi, I'd like to talk to you Paul about my business. And we get a name and phone number, and I call him back. Awesome. And then we begin. 301-5-million. Easy number, right? I
love it. So 301-5-million, or if they want to read your book first and find out more about you and your thoughts and philosophies there, even though it doesn't 100% applicable to how you're consulting with businesses today, the concepts are kind of there.
I think to have that book in your hand is extremely valuable. I'll humbly say that. I mean, I think it lays out a lot of really, really good stuff. I mean, you've seen it. There's two parts, the business of business and the law of business. So I can't tell you how many entrepreneurs and business people, they get to a certain point and they think they're successful, and all of a sudden, oops, a T wasn't crossed or an I wasn't dotted properly. The law, bit them in the behind, and now they're struggling mightily just to stay afloat because of some administrative or legal issue that they didn't know about or didn't attend to properly. So, my experience as an attorney, I put that into the book so that people are aware of what things they need to do and look for. And I help with those things too.
Great. I love it. Paul, thank you for joining us today. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your knowledge. I love your mindset.
That's sensational. Thank you for the kind words, and you kind of invited me into your group. I'd love to be a member, and I am very, very honored to have been sitting around talking with you for the last bit here. It was really nice, and I enjoyed it. So thank you, and best to you, and I hope you and your family are safe, and to all your listeners that they're safe as well.
Thanks, Paul, and enjoy that new grandbaby. That's awesome. So listeners, viewers, episode 14 of For Entrepreneurs by Entrepreneurs, Paul Samakow, and we are out.